Welcome to Miss Martin Muses. Welcome to Miss Martin Muses, where we muse upon what makes me laugh, makes me cry, makes me happy, makes me sad, or just really ticks me off. Well, today we're going to talk about three things that make me very, very happy, and that is three Arnold Schwarzenegger movies for the
Yay!
yeah I know we love them for the triple review today. The Arnold Schwarzenegger movies, we have Terminator 2, the Eraser, and The Last Stand. And thank you to Maury and Eddie for the suggestions. I really look forward to talking about these. I, of course, had seen Terminator 2, but I had never watched Eraser or The Last Stand. So I enjoyed them immensely, and we're going to talk about them. But I am once again joined all the way from a southern latitude. I am joined by Maury. Hello.
Hi,
How you doing today?
doing good. And Rufus is just jumped on the table, so you might have some Rufus interference.
Okay, you need to get the nail clippers. I have the nail clippers right here on my desk. And of course, Eddie as well. Hello, Eddie.
Hello.
Oh my gosh. Great. You all are actually in the future, at least compared to me, not as far in the future as our European friends. How's the future over there in Georgia? Or
Hot.
It's hot. Yeah,
It's hot.
yeah.
Okay.
It's hot. It's hot, and it's hot. It's not just the heat; it's the stupidity. So it's just a sweat thing. So
We found the real cause of global warming here. You heard it here first. Yes. Well, and thank you all those coming in the chat, and thank you for those that will be watching this on the replay. We have Keck here. Thank you very much for being here and for being my mod. We have Keck also saying The Last Stand. I don't know if I've seen that.
it's a little known one, though. Yeah.
It was 2013, so we're going to talk about those today. So and that's part of what I like to do with these triple reviews. They're fun to talk about, but new entertainment is so garbage right now that maybe people can maybe hear a little bit about these and decide to watch them or share them with friends. Though there will be spoilers, here, but yeah, go ahead and catch it. We're going to be talking about that one third. Heck, so no worries about spoilers until the 40-minute mark. So let's just go ahead and just jump right into this. We're going to start with one of the ultimate ones, of course, which is Terminator 2. Well, the whole Terminator franchise, but definitely Terminator 1 and Terminator 2 are amazing. Most particularly Terminator 2. It was a fantastic sequel. And I don't know, Maury, did you want to give us a little bit of background information on this?
Well, it's just a continuation of the first one, and you get a new Terminator, the T-1000, that is the bad guy this time, and Arnie Terminator gets to be the good guy.
Of course. Yeah, there was a little bit of controversy about that because everyone's like, "Oh, for crying out loud, can't have Arnold be the bad guy, so they gotta make him cute." And it was 1991. 1991.
Wow, that old, huh?
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah. The effects work. They still work. The CG would have been relatively new in 91, and it still works today. I mean, it's pretty good.
Yeah. I remember seeing for the first time that whole shape-shifting thing with the bad guy, the bad Terminator, and the way his hand would like melt and all that, and just being like, whoa. I mean, it was really cutting edge, and you're right. It stands up today.
Yeah.
And perhaps
thanks to James Cameron and his OCD.
Yeah. Yeah. So with the Blu-ray that we watched, that's been dressed up by him?
I don't know if it's actually been dressed up, but you can definitely, it's.
Well, there was a thing in it that I noticed that I had not noticed the first, and I've seen the thing, of course, 100 times. But when the helicopter chase was going on, where they're in the truck and the bad guy's chasing him in the helicopter, did you notice he's got the gun in his two hands like you would have a gun, and he's shooting at Linda Hamilton and that kind of stuff. there is a third arm that came up out of his belly and was holding the stick of the helicopter. And I don't remember ever noticing that before. And that's just the kind of thing that a director would add, if they had the opportunity to do so. Oh, we have a cat on the table now.
Yeah, Ebony.
Ebony just joined us.
Get out the clippers. Yeah, I don't know about that. Okay, everyone go and search it out and pause. But yeah, speaking of Cameron McIntosh, my gosh, James Cameron and his OCD. Every time I hear anything about him, is that he is a complete, very kind of difficult to work with, because he is, but not in like the bad sense of the way. He is just so focused and such a douche, if you will, about it, but he's usually right and he gets the results. And so I think that's why people keep kind of going back to him and still working with him. And as much as I sometimes, when I see him, I think, he sounds a little full of himself or something, but then he delivers. He really does. Yes. So we've got this new plot where Sarah Connor and John Connor, the young teenager, and he's coming to save him. And they use that whole line, "Come with me if you want to live."
Right.
There's a few callbacks to that. And Sarah Connor is insane, or in an insane asylum.
Right.
And it makes sense that, someone like her would be going around screaming, "Oh my, this guy is like," she's the kind of person that you would usually see on a street corner saying, "Jesus is coming," that kind of fanaticism. So you can understand why she is the way she is, but also why they locked her up and she lost her son. And even he was like, "My mom's crazy," and she was almost like putting so much pressure on him. Like, "You're so important. Don't you know you're so important?" And listening to a role here. So Eddie, that really struck me, that worst mom ever, best mom ever. What do you think of that dynamic?
Well, it was a really a good way to take the story. I mean, and we do get from him talking to his friend in the early part of the film, we do get some backstory of what all happened from the first movie, that she took him to Nicaragua. She was running around with freedom fighters and was teaching them how to, to hack a ATM machine, and obviously taught him other skills and stuff. And so you do get a good backstory on it. And people would think she was completely crazy, and she didn't. We see her transition in the first movie from the frou-frou waitress with the 80s hair and stuff. And then toward the end of that film, her inner soldier starts coming out. So they actually set the stage in the first film for the character that she would show up as. And she's gone full military in this one. I mean, she's working out she's got her bed in her crazy house room. She's got her bed standing up on the end so she can do chin-ups on it and stuff like that. So yeah, it was good. It was also, I guess, Cameron did the first one too, didn't he? Yeah. So this was an opportunity for him to continue on with his storyline, and you kind of see that. And there's more technology as far as cinematography goes and stuff, and probably a bigger budget. But really well done, though. It's almost like, in the same sense that the second Alien film with James Cameron at the helm took the Alien story from Ridley Scott and really one-upped it. I mean, took it to a logical next step and stuff, but did it brilliantly. So he's a good filmmaker, definitely.
Yeah, when you were talking about her doing those chin-ups and all that, I recall seeing that 1,000 times in the cinema during the previews. All the previews were for Terminator 2, and you would see her sitting there like, "Oh, look at her," and she would be doing those pull-ups, and very iconic to see her all muscly and stuff. Bush McFadden, hello. He says she's crazy, militaristic, badass, but also motherly.
Yes, she's very concerned for her son and for humanity in general. She's
It's interesting. Bush says about how these things work together. I remember being, yeah, guys liked her. The guys liked her a lot. I'll tell you what distracted me watching it. I forgot how used to not seeing people smoking I was. And she's just sitting there smoking inside and in the insane asylum. It's like, so I guess they were just allowed to sit there and puff away. and like, of course, that's the way it was. And the airplanes, everyone would be all smoking, but that also struck me as well. I was gonna say, Maury, what you thinking about this? All these aspects of this.
Oh,
she was taking a picture of Rufus.
Oh, sorry, I caught you in a cat moment. Girl, you gotta make a YouTube channel. You'll be a millionaire. Those videos are so cute. Yeah, of her cat.
They're on Instagram.
Yeah, your cat has its own Instagram. So yes, if you want to see the picture of the cat interference, apparently. Okay, well, now that you've gotten your cat moment, we're having this deep discussion here, girl.
Well, Terminator 2 is my favorite out of the Terminators. And I mean, she's like, you think she's just lost her complete total mind. And like, she is motherly, like you said. And she's, I like how her son realizes when he comes across Arnie, like, this is real. Everything she taught me is real. He
has that moment. Like, he goes, "Whoa, hang on now. Wait a minute. Time out.
Yes. My mommy's not crazy after all.
Speaking of the smoking thing, I thought it was hilarious when after she's shot up the Dyson's house completely and she shoots him in the shoulder, and then the John and the Terminator come running in, and she's sitting there in their house, like I said, smoking away. She's just puffing away,
Yeah, I was gonna say, Bush McCutcheon said, "Just share. She's a little stressed. Yeah, she's got yeah, you're right." And she's up on the counter at that one scene. Now, Bush McFadden said she pulls back from killing Dyson when kid runs in saying, "Don't shoot my daddy."
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. There's also the rather famous thing that was even turned into a meme about when the Terminator, Arnold, the good Terminator, calls his the foster parents.
Oh yeah.
And because of the way she's all, he's like, they're dead.
Yeah,
they're
your
dead.
foster parents are dead.
Yeah. Oh, hey JT, thank you. Well, Terminator 2, Independence Day, yes. Same thing. Everyone for BKA, aka the New Dark Shadow, says 4 days till the 4th of July celebration. Yeah, so bring out the coolers and ice, bring a lot of brewskis, throw meat on the grill, bring out the fireworks, and enjoy the show. Yes. Yeah, Independence Day. And to tie it all in together, we have an Independence Day because John Connor saved the world. Because I'll tell you what, I really have reached a point in my life where I pretend like this last one especially didn't happen, or
Dark Fate, Dark Fate did not help him.
Is that the one with the enhanced human?
Yeah,
I didn't see all of that one.
No.
Yeah, yes, like, so they go back in time and kill John, and it's like, screw that.
No.
Yeah, it's like, why ruin everything? What kind of jerks are you? Yeah, Bush said, I love the good Terminator. It also breaks people's faces, kneecaps, burns them, chokes them, etc. Our hero. Well, hey, he's our hero.
Yes. He'll live.
Yeah.
I've actually met Robert Patrick.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
He called me a Georgia peach.
Oh.
Yeah.
And then he melted into the floor.
And then he melted the floor.
Yeah, you've met all these. See, I'm hoping these conventions really they've just fired up again. And because you go and you get to meet all these people, and they're really cool. Yeah, George. That's cute though. JT Gunn, late night with Cap. Happy for that. I make sure to leave out milk and cookies for Cap. Yeah, Captain America. America's ass.
That's America's ass.
Yeah. And I always thought it sucked to be the guy who was the inventor of the technology.
Oh man.
Yeah.
It's like, well, sorry, but everything you do ends up killing humanity, so we've got to destroy it all.
So yeah, that's almost a shame, because the technology would certainly have a great many other uses that would not involve destroying the planet and killing all of humanity. So it's almost it's kind of, you can see where it would be a moral dilemma. I mean, do I create this and then try to keep it under control, or is it becoming sentient and killing everybody? Is that inevitable, or is it something that we can turn around now that we're aware of its potential? Because we've got a Google engineer that's claiming that one of their AIs has become sentient. I didn't read all of that, but he's
that's what I was thinking about.
I was like, have we not seen the Terminator movies?
Yeah, let's not do Skynet. Let's just leave that one out.
Yeah, no,
there's literally a whole series of movies about this very thing.
Very thing. So maybe you guys should go look at these films before. Yeah.
Oh gosh, yeah. Well, we never learn.
Oh no.
Of course not.
No.
I always say, it's how Eddie and Ava is like, we are the honey boo boo show of the universe.
Aliens are watching every week to see if they're gonna blow themselves.
Is this the season we blow ourselves?
Oh gosh. Well, it's why there's that meme. This is why the aliens refuse to make first contact.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, the other line that we all would say is "Hasta la vista, baby."
Yeah.
We all thought that was so cool. Well, and then there was also that iconic shot that was in the preview where Sarah Connor is taking the gun and like just shaking it to reload it. Boom, boom, boom.
Oh yeah, the shotgun.
Yeah, that was also a moment.
Yeah, that movie's got a lot of stuff in it. I mean, it's loaded. It's got the liquid nitrogen and him freezing and regrouping and all. I mean, it's just
it's
fun stuff. They had a pretty big budget, I guess, for back then, coming off of the success of the first one.
Yeah. Gosh, yeah. It was like, it was huge. I was a senior in high school or junior, I forgot, whatever it was, but yeah, it was like everyone was like, "Oh my gosh, it's a Terminator." And I had actually not seen the first one, and one of my friends, shamed me, so we went to see the first one. We watched the first one on video so that I would be caught up, and I enjoy it. Though, even though I really like this movie, I really, really do, there's some teeny tiny part of me that likes the first one as a standalone because of the way the ending is with her, where she is thinking about the baby that's to come and the Polaroid.
Yeah.
And it's like a storm's coming and you just see her driving off and there's like a storm and
definitely could have been left there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then the rest up to our imagination.
I like that too. And then which one? Oh, it's in the first one as well, where we do a future flash and whatever your buddy's name, Michael Bine's character, whatever. Where he's got that picture, and the Terminator breaks into the human thing, and he starts shooting up everybody. And that Polaroid gets burned up, and we watch it burn in that little flash ahead scene. I always thought was very cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Booth McFadden said, Bush rather says, T2 could have ended and should have been left right where it ended. Yeah. No more movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because then it's up for grabs. Can you really come back and change the future, or is stuff inevitable? Are we on? I mean, did we jump timelines with the death of Dyson and all the technology, all of his research being destroyed? But that would have been. Yeah, we could have definitely left it alone, right there.
Yeah, I'm okay with the one, which the third one, or is it where Claire Danes is in it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't mind that one either.
Yeah,
a lot of folks hated that one.
Yeah,
I didn't really mind
either.
it.
I mean, they end up in the bunker, so.
Yes. And mainly because it showed exactly what you were saying, Eddie, is it was inevitable. The future was kind of set in stone that despite everything they did, it was supposed to happen.
Right.
Mhm.
Right. I find the second one, the T-1000, is that what Patrick?
Yeah.
Yeah. That particular piece of technology seems more plausible. Once they got further into these sequels and stuff, that liquid Terminator became more capable, and I'm not completely sure. Like he says in the first one, it can't do gunpowder. It doesn't do chemicals and heavily moving parts. Like it can only shape itself into a stabbing or a clubbing thing. It doesn't have, those complex capabilities and all. But they start giving that to the advanced Terminators later on, and they become less believable for me. In the third film, she produces a weapon with her arm that can actually fire, and it's like, oh, okay, now that's kind of stretching physics a bit. How is she actually creating a plasma weapon out of her liquid metal self? There would need to be energy sources and things like that, and conversion technology. I don't know, that it just became the first one in Terminator 2, that first T-1000, that's a fairly believable piece of technology for me. But as they went along, they became less believable and more just kind of a fantasy thing, more magic and less technology.
Yeah, I can see that. And Bush says that they made Arnold goofy and slapstick, and I hated it. Yeah, he did get a little more goofy, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, they went too far to suspend disbelief. Yeah, good points all. Well, let's go ahead and go to our ratings. Let's see who up. Maury, what rating would you give this movie?
I give it a 9.
Okay. Explain yourself.
Explain myself.
Young lady,
I always judge
explain
you.
yourself.
Well, it is my favorite of the Terminators.
Okay.
And I don't know. We can just end positively, and I don't know, just a solid 9.5.
Okay, all right, that's no problem. Yeah, Boots is a 10 out of 10. Yeah. Okay, Eddie, what do you rate it?
I'd have to go along with Bush on that one. I think it's a 10. It's just, and it's not just, of course the cinematography is excellent. The way it's shot, the action sequences and everything. It's just good, really good filmmaking. But then there's also a really good story going on and character development and Little John, he's gotten his mother's, she's very maternal about the human race. She wants the human race to survive. And he gets all freaked out when Arnie's going to shoot one of the guys that's kind of roughing him up a little bit. You can't kill people. Don't you know why you can't kill people? And that kind of thing. I just thought it was really good. So a 10 for me, definitely.
Okay. Yeah. JT Gunn rather says, I used to watch T2 every day I could in the summer. Yes, it was that kind of a movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm really leaning toward a 10, but maybe with a few decimals behind. Maybe a 9.87. Because I can't quite give it a 10 out of 10. Because for me, that would be like the perfect movie, something like Raiders of the Lost Ark, for example, the absolute, because there were some moments where you're just like, okay, enough already, let's just get on with this. But as you said, the whole presentation, as far as an action flick that was really had some great sequences, while at the same time having a great story and just entertainment value, etc. Yes, I would say that.
And good music.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Someone. Yeah. Complaining we didn't talk about the score. Yeah.
Guns N' Roses. Definitely love Guns N' Roses.
Yeah. Yes. Well. But yeah. The score was done by Brian Fidel. And then the rock stuff and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Bush says CGI is mind blowing. The acting is top notch. The villain was amazing. The score was immersive. Easy 10 out of 10. Yeah. 9.
Yeah.
I'll just call you Captain America, but JT Gunn says 9.98. Bush says Terminator seems to actually be leaning through the film. We don't see that in any other installments. For sure, great entertainment, and they don't make them like that anymore, do they? Action flicks, for the vast majority of the time, don't usually have really great and engaging stories. I'm thinking of things like the MCU, where it's just so heavy action with moments of good storytelling. Like, for example, I would say the Captain America or movie and Winter Soldier and the stuff with Iron Man, but in general, just really epic stuff and original material too. The story is,
and it is dated somewhat and all, but it ages. It really ages well. This was back during the time where movies didn't feel compelled to make social commentary and stuff. He was just putting out a story, a science fiction story about time travel and Terminators and the human race and all that kind of stuff. But it didn't get into any sort of immediate, any immediate political ideas or things that were running around through society. It was just a film for the sake of being a film. It's kind of refreshing.
Yeah, just anything that was social was like general.
Yeah, universal themes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, man versus machine, as you said, time travel, free will, like what our responsibility is, et cetera, family. It's nothing that would take you out of the story, but put you in. And I think that is the reason why it's successful. And for the most part, I think that's why Cameron movies are successful. He does tend to stay that way with his stuff.
Now, I got a comment about his friend at the arcade, the guy that is riding on his bike with him and stuff, Little John. The mullet is just priceless. I know that actor's got to be like, oh my God, I can't believe it.
Yeah, and his hair was like that in Salute My Shorts. He was on a Nickelodeon show at the time. So I remember that.
Oh, good times. Yes. yes. And yes. We're about ready to move on, but I do want to get to some of these last comments. Here we go. Bush says, I'm with Eddie. I have seen so many weirdos make insane allegories to real world things like Reagan or Bush or economics, and it's all laughable. Oh yeah. It's no. And if it was even in the back of their heads, it didn't come through in the story. So here we move on to the next one. We're going forward to later in the 90s with Eraser. Maury, tell us about Eraser.
Eraser came out in 96. It was directed by Chuck Russell. Four stars: Arnold Schwarzenegger, Vanessa Williams, and James Caan. It is about Arnold plays is it FBI or is it CIA? Anyway, an agent in
some government agency.
Government agency, and he's witness protection. And he erases people.
Yeah, he helps people disappear.
Yeah, makes them disappear.
Yeah,
and relocates them.
I enjoyed this movie. It wasn't anything that you can say, my gosh, this is like the greatest thing ever. It's not Terminator 2 level and all that, but as for a popcorn movie, like if I had some friends over, or I was coming to hang out with Maury and Eddie and everybody, because we do this when we do get together. Gosh, it's going to happen, by the way. COVID put through a wrench into that. It's like, oh, let's just sit down and watch this. We get some snacks. It's that kind of a movie. And I hadn't seen it maybe for that very reason. When I saw it advertised, I was like, oh, I don't feel like seeing that in the cinema. But it was fun. And before I go into the next one, the reason why we didn't choose True Lies is because it is I wasn't able to stream it. And we sometimes like to choose maybe some of the less known ones. That's what we do here.
Yeah, and also James Cameron has not finished with the Blu-ray transfer of True Lies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He's still working on it.
Yeah, that
Yes.
one. And what's the other one?
The Abyss.
The Abyss is also one that's held up in that of James Cameron films.
Yeah, so it's hard to see. So that too. And to be fair though, it was actually originally on the list, and I'm like, I can't find it. We're like, damn you, Cameron. James Cameron. Yeah. All right, so Maury, what are your impressions of this movie?
Yeah, it's definitely a fun movie to watch, and yeah, the CGI crocodiles were hilarious.
That's the best. That's the best. Right.
It's like cartoons.
It was hysterical. Yeah, they're ripping off the arms and stuff and biting off the head.
It's like, did the zoo never feed these animals?
Oh gosh, yeah. Well, speaking of smoking, that was the other thing when they're in that private plane. First of all, I want that private plane.
Right.
And they have those snacks and everything. I'm like, I want those snacks. And then all of a sudden, James kind of starts lighting up a cigarette. I'm like, oh yeah, I guess that still was a thing in the 90s. Okay, Eddie, what do you think about this one?
I like this one. It's I'm a big James Caan fan, so anything with James Caan in it, I just think he's terrific. And it was, it was your classic. Like you said, it wasn't really anything, just scream about or whatnot, but it was a good couch movie, something you can catch on one of the movie channels, and like I said, have folks over, and I enjoyed it. I thought it was shot well. The CG crocodiles are little alligators. They're a little much, but I thought it was pretty good. And I love the idea of a railgun, a handheld railgun. I mean, that's cool stuff right there.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, some of it was over the top, like when Arnold was in the airplane and like hanging out.
Oh yeah.
By his arm. I mean, he would have been ripped right out of that airplane the second the door opened.
Yeah. And he manages somehow, while hanging out of the door, he somehow manages to grab a chair and throw it through the engine.
Yeah.
So he's just holding on with one arm, and he's ripping a seat out of the floor with the other, and it's.
Yeah, and then the whole chase the parachute while he's falling.
While he's falling, exactly.
Yeah, he's Superman. He's flying. You'll believe a man can fly.
He's flying through the air. It's like, oh, I need a parachute. Oh, well, he's got one.
And then when he finally, and it's not even over, but then when he finally gets the parachute, they turn around and they've got one engine, and he's like, I want him splattered over the windshield.
Oh, yeah.
And then gosh, I forget what he does. How do they miss him? I forget something happens.
He starts shooting, and he
starts
hitting the windshield of the plane, so the pilot freaks, and they barely miss him,
And he still manages to land on that car.
I know.
Yeah, that was over the top.
Definitely.
Though I want to say about Vanessa Williams' character, too dumb to live in the first part. Oh my gosh, she deserved to die, because they're all like, you got to be in witness protection program. She's like, no, I don't. I'm gonna be fine. And she then goes and calls that reporter, and it's like, you dumb woman. And she ends up getting her ex-boyfriend and that reporter killed because she
right.
Yeah.
She was, I couldn't my stuff.
And then loading the disc in her computer, like obviously they know, like they've been watching you. Your computer is hacked.
Yeah.
Duh.
It's like, they're not gonna notice. Yeah. What an action figure named John Kruger. Yeah. So she was kind of dumb.
Yeah, a little bit. But,
She kind of got some brains toward the end. I actually thought that they were gonna fall in love, that whole thing, but they didn't go there.
Yeah.
Which is probably good.
Yeah.
I mean, Arnie's, I don't know how well he does that.
Does romance.
I
don't know how well he does romance. It would be hard to get past the accent.
True Lies.
Well, True Lies, yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, it almost would have been a trope if they'd have fallen in love. I mean, maybe they fell in love later, but they'd even establish his character as a bit of a loner and a little bit.
Now I love the longshoremen, the Union guys that he gets the one guy that he goes and rescues out of the gay bar that he'd hidden, one of the guys he'd erased, and he gets his buddies from the Union, and they go down to the docks because there's a shipment coming in that the Union doesn't know about. And,
that's cool. Yeah. They had the I liked that the whole idea of using the resources that you have.
Well, yeah. I mean, those guys are tough. They don't play around.
Yeah, I was gonna say you don't mess with the wasn't that the one that Jimmy Hoffa ended up getting wiped out? Was he one of those, or no? He's a Teamster.
Yeah, he was a Teamster.
Yeah, I think even today you don't want to mess with that. And I thought that was funny. It's like the one place they'll never think to look for you in a gay bar because he was such a stereotypical, mafia dude. And,
right.
And they're like, it's raining men.
Exactly.
And Arnold comes in. They're all like, hey.
I know.
It's like, people would like him. Good guy. Yeah, you've just been erased. Well, and I liked at the ending. Oh, yeah. And by the way, in case you are coming in, we do have spoilers in these that the way that he resolved it. You think these guys kind of got away, and then the train, and they're all like, oh my gosh, and he's like, and then Vanessa Williams is like, what happened? He's like, they caught a train.
Oh yes,
that was Boosh says, did anyone not think James Caan was the bad guy immediately?
I know,
of course. Oh yeah,
he has to be, because it's James Caan. Otherwise they would have just had someone else playing the role. Well, you knew something was up on the airplane that I still want to have, where he's like, he gave the water to Arnold Schwarzenegger, and then the other guy wanted some water. He's like, no, take this instead. A marvelous product placement, by the way, for Pepsi. But it says like, okay, something's going on. But that poor dude, though, and
the rookie.
Yeah, the rookie. And he's like, have you had an evaluation yet? And he's like, no. And he's like, boom. And it's like, you passed or something. I'm like, oh, that's terrible. It's 25 years old. Do we need to say spoilers? Says Boosh. Well, technically, no. But I do say that sometimes I like these movies for people maybe to think about things they might want to watch. But yeah, technically, I don't know. I said it. How's that? I said it, so I can't have anyone witching at me. Hey, Lady Toriel's here. We have an elf in the house. We do have an elf in the house. Lady Toriel says, Eraser was fun and loved the one-liners. Yes.
Yeah.
yeah, definitely.
Awesome avatar, by the way, Lady Toriel. Yes.
James Caan definitely deserved to be hobbled in misery after watching this movie.
What was the other one? Your Luggage?
Your luggage.
And James Caan thinks he's got Arnold, and he's like, say goodbye, and then Arnold like knocks him down or something. He gets smashed and splattered, and he goes, goodbye. I was laughing. It was good fun. Though there is some dark part of me that almost wishes when they're at the court scene at the end and they get into the van and it blows up and then it goes to credits. Wouldn't that be awesome?
No.
And that would have been stunning and brave.
Yeah.
And realistic. It's like it's never going to go to trial.
No.
That was sweet. And I almost wish they hadn't spoiled it by showing Arnold kind of crawling through the little hole around, but it was priceless when one of the James Caan says to the other guy, it's like, "Hey, that was ingenious." He's like, "No, I thought that was you." And and then they like look at each other like, "Oh crap!" And then it's the dude from the gay bar who's driving it. And,
Yeah.
and they let a train do the job for them. So I thought it was good fun. I was gonna say, and Maury, do you have anything else about the movie you want to bring up before we go to our reviews?
No.
Anything we haven't mentioned? Yeah,
No,
I think
covered it.
think we got a lot of it. But yeah, the crocodiles. We love those crocodiles. Bush says her boss holds a gun on here, needs to kill her to protect himself and his family. But he's like, nah, gonna off myself instead. Yeah, why didn't he? Oh wait, but she said that they'd seen everything. I think that's why he realized he had to kill himself. Yeah, that gosh, that character actor, he's great. I think he's passed away probably by now, but he always does those kind of roles.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Well,
maybe he had some conscience left.
Yeah, perhaps.
No, I just think, well, my opinion is he just knew he was screwed, that there was nothing he could do because he's a selfish SOB. Yeah, she threatened to show it. Yes, no, she had another disc and she threatened to show it. Yeah. Well, and they also had it on the video. Yeah. He needed to blow himself away. It was shocking, I got to admit, because at first I really thought that there was going to be like a gunfight or something. I didn't expect him to go ahead and do that. All right. Well, Eddie, what is your rating rather for this?
I would give this one probably an 8, something like that. It's just like, it's just fun. It's not earth shattering or whatever. It's just kind of fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Didn't change the world or anything, Maury?
No, not really.
Okay.
But it's just, I enjoyed it and would watch it again. Definitely.
Yeah.
Okay. Maury?
Also an 8.
An 8? All right.
It's a good afternoon movie to watch.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm rating it a little bit lower, around a 7, especially toward the end. I was just like, okay, come on, let's just get this done. But see, 7 is definitely average. You know what I mean? So it's not bad, not great. And just as we said, it's a good afternoon movie to watch at home. And it definitely, if it had been made today, no way in heck, I don't think anyone would have seen it in the cinema.
No.
Yeah. 6 or 7 for me, says Boosh. It's been a while. I'd have to see it again. It's a silly popcorn movie that goes off the rails. Yeah. Yeah, and it's silly. It definitely has some really.
It definitely goes off the rails.
Yeah, exactly. But if you haven't seen it and you want to rent it, I don't know if I would recommend buying it unless that's the thing for you.
It's a rental.
It's a rental.
Yeah,
you don't have to.
It's a rental movie. Yeah, maybe that should be one of our new ratings. Is it a rental or is it a buy? T2 is definitely a buy. This one is definitely a rental. Well, okay. Well, then we're going to move on to our final one, which is 2013, The Last Stand. Maury, tell us about The Last Stand.
Well, let's see. It came out in 2013. It's directed by Ji-won Kim. Of course, it has Arnold, Johnny Knoxville, Louis Gunsman, and Forrest Whitaker. Oh. And it's about a drug dealer in the Mexican drug cartel that escapes out of prison, and he's going to run for the border. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And he has a race car. They steal a race car, and he has his whole team in this, and he has to go. He's going through this little town of, was it Summersville?
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, just a typical small town.
Yeah, very small town on the border.
Right at the border with Mexico. He's a cartel. His father was a cartel leader. He's like third generation.
Yeah, third generation.
Cartel person.
Yeah, not only does he have basically a race car, as they say in the movie, the Batmobile.
Yeah, a psychopath in the Batmobile.
It's like exactly he also like did professional racing in South America. So this villain is like totally equipped to be super villain. And there's only one man
that can stand in his way.
Yes.
Of course.
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah. And his little team. This whole small town feel of it, and what was it? Everyone going to the football game. I mean, gosh, I can relate to that. Not that I would go. See, I would have been like Arnold. I'd have been like, go on without me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're
And
right. The little diner, whenever the poops hit in the fan, you need to go home. You're in danger.
I'm 72 and I just ordered an omelet with double cheese, bacon. I look like somebody who's afraid of death. That was a great line.
Yeah, that was awesome. And so and of course this guy, again, he's like super psychopath with the Batmobile. He kidnaps an agent who turns out to be a double agent, and they're coming straight for the little town, and the smart FBI people and all that can't figure it out, and the bad guy gets like the SWAT team and all that. And there was an ongoing joke that the FBI guy played by Forrest Whitaker kept trying to talk to Arnold, and he would be like, sorry, I've got something here, I gotta go, and he kept hanging up
on him. Yeah.
I thought that was hilarious, and he would just get like so frustrated. But and it was there was a very kind of melancholy moment with the little deputy guy. They set him up that he was going to be doing he wanted to get out of the small town, go to the big city.
Yeah.
And when he and the other deputy were approaching those cartel people that were building that bridge, I just felt so terrible because I knew that they were so out of their league. And
exactly,
but it was realistic that he got shot and killed. Frankly, I think she should have been shot and killed too. There was no way someone that inexperienced with those people, with those.
True. But you can't kill Lady Sif. I mean,
and
from Thor.
The only thing, of course, that saved him was Arnold shows up in his big SUV sheriff truck. It was a little ridiculous how he was just. Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's just pure fantasy too. I love those where the bad guy has just got everything. They've got a whole army. They've got an inside person with the FBI. They've got this. Where do you go get in the middle of the desert a giant truck with a snowplow on it? And then all these hired guns. It's like crime in Italy. They were spending millions to get the dude out of there. But it made for fun because it gave more for Arnie in the game.
Corvette.
Yeah, for them to do, and that's the whole Last Stand thing. It seemed to me almost like a Western. It had a High Noon feel to it.
Yeah, exactly.
And they deputized the ex-Marine who was in jail, and the kind of goofy guy who had his little sword and shield and that hat.
Yeah, Johnny Knoxville.
He just about stole the show.
Yeah,
I love him.
He's got his gun museum.
Yeah, and when Arnold caught them doing that, and then the other guys had gone, Arnold was like, okay, you got to let me shoot this.
Yeah, exactly.
And then Arnold wanted to shoot it because it was such a cool gun. That was fun. Hello, LDG. Thank you for being here. So I enjoyed that, and I there were many moments like the little old lady, and that one cartel guy's like, be quiet, Granny, or something, and she just pulls out this big ass gun and just boom. And then you see him, Arnold's about to shoot him, and then he gets blown out the other direction.
Like, don't mess with Texas.
Exactly. Yeah. Or don't mess
Arnold's
with
like,
Granny for sure.
exactly. He said, I'm obliged.
That was great. Yeah. Yeah. And that again, that also had a Western feel to it. That kind of
Yeah.
language. Obliged, ma'am.
Yeah,
And the people.
exactly.
And the way the people in the diner, they were almost like the Greek chorus kind of commenting and things, and they come blow it in. And Arnold had that big thing of glass in his leg.
Oh man.
And he just pulls it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was fun. And I thought it was also funny at the end where the the silly guy and the other deputy, they were comparing their shots, and the guy's
Oh
like,
yeah.
"Listen to this." He's like, "Oh no, you just got shot with a BB gun."
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, and it was bookended really well with the guy at the beginning who was going out to the American football game,
Oh,
who was in the
man.
fire lane.
Yeah. Just don't park it in the fire lane.
Yeah, and then at the end, he's like, "What the hell happened to my car?" And he said, "I told you not to park in the fire lane."
Yeah.
And that was how it ended. So
This movie though it's got a lot of comedic elements and stuff, but it is graphically violent. I mean,
Yes.
it is, the gunshots are the kind, they're not like the old Western gunshots, though. And people's heads were coming apart, blood spattering everywhere. It was really vicious as far as, but then you've got all this kind of light sort of, stuff going on, so you don't really notice it. But man, it was a violent movie.
Yeah, I think I realized that, and one of the shots you're talking about, maybe when the cartel dude blew off the head of the FBI guy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And he was like, "You got a wife and kids, so put down the gun." So he puts down the gun, and then he just, that was a very, that to me was actually the most disturbing death.
Yeah, and then the farmer dude.
The farmer dude on his tractor, all and he goes flying off the. Oh, yeah.
That was. And talk about a small town. The fact that he hadn't delivered the milk to the diner, that was how they knew something terrible had happened. It's like, he hasn't missed in so many years. And Arnold's like, fine. And in a way, I was saying this to someone else when I was talking about it, that the kills reminded me a little bit of the way they are in horror movies, like how each kill is kind of unique. Yeah. Especially with the bad guys. When they came in on the school bus.
Yes.
I thought that was great. Well, and I was surprised that actually the cartel dude did not die at the end.
Yeah, that's right. Arnie just fell him with a bridge.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I guess it would be worse for him, though, to actually have to go face the FBI and be put in jail and all that. Yeah, however, we all know that a drug cartel like that and people with that much resources, they would have, after the fact, after the dust settled, they would have sent troops back in there and just taken that whole town down just for revenge, just to make a statement, just to show that, you can't do this to us and get away with it.
Yeah, that's what cartels. Yeah. Yeah, you don't mess with the
no.
You barely even talk about the cartel.
No. They don't play.
So. No. So, that's actually a very good point. However, I did get a great deal of satisfaction with the way that Arnold brought in that guy.
Oh yeah,
the way he's hopping on one foot behind the car.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Yeah, that was good. But the sequel, The Cartels Revenge.
Cartels, exactly.
It's like, y'all better go move now. Especially being right there on the border. That's not okay. That's not going to be okay. Hey there, Biggles. Thank you for being in here. We're reviewing these movies, and I really did have a lot of fun with this movie. And it was just as long as it should have been. Because thank goodness, because you do kind of reach a point where you're like, okay, enough already. And so they knew when to stop. And I love it when the way they got the mole when they figured out that chick was a double agent. She's like, "I'm so sorry." It's like,
Oh, I know.
and he got her. He put the handcuff on her. She's like, "What?" It's like, Swiss banks aren't as secret as you think they are.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, especially nowadays. I mean, so sometimes every time someone says, "Aren't you afraid about your identity or the government being able to see this?" It's like, "Oh my gosh, they follow me on my phone." You know,
Oh, yeah, exactly. Holy moly.
everything's electronic nowadays. I couldn't stop them if I wanted to. So I'm like, fine. You're more than welcome to see my very non-exciting medical records.
Well, see, that's the thing. If that's all you've got to do all day is look at my phone, oh well, then you live a much more sad life than I've got.
You
I'm
live a
middle.
sad life.
That's the best you can do for entertainment.
Exactly. Or it's like, oh, what happens if they sell your information? It's like they already are. It's called Facebook.
Oh, yeah.
So, all right. Eddie, you're rolling really well today, so you need to buy the lottery ticket. What's your rating for this movie?
This one, I would have to give it a high 8, maybe, or maybe a low 9. It was a good film for me. I like the somewhat aged Arnie. He looks worn, looks like he's been a homicide detective in L.A. or whatever his expertise was over there. It looks like he's been beat up pretty hard and wants nothing more than to just sit on his front porch and have a beer and go into the office every day.
Mm-hmm.
So I liked it. I'll give it like I said, a high 8 or a low 9, somewhere around in there.
Okay. And Maury?
Yeah, I give it a 9. I really enjoyed it. And the car stuff reminded me of Dukes of Hazzard, Smokey the Bandit.
Oh, yeah, good point.
Like, I was expecting him to jump the...
Oh, to jump the canyon.
Yeah, to jump the canyon.
Well,
they
could have jumped it and had Arnie shoot him with a rocket launcher halfway across.
Exactly.
I mean, that would have been way more exciting.
Hey, I would have been all for that. All while playing Dixie, right? Oh, but they would be canceled for doing that now.
Oh, yeah, that's true. You can't do that.
Well, they can do Yellow Rose of Texas or something. The heart of Texas.
Yeah. Well, isn't it interesting? This was set in California, and there's not really any cool songs about California, are there?
Well, no, not really.
No, they suck. Well, it is what it is. So, my rating. I'd give it an 8. Because I can't really say it's a great movie, but a solid B. Okay, 8.5. 85%, because it was entertaining as F. I was, just the whole movie, I was entertained. It had that Western feel, great one lines, a really satisfying revenge at the end. Because they were even saying, he killed so and so. We're gonna get this bastard, and the scene when Forrest Whitaker finally comes face to face with Arnold and just shakes his hand. It's
he's impressed.
Yeah, really cool, old fashioned. If you, even with all the modern stuff, very old fashioned, fun, and again, not sure it's a buy. Again, I think that's what we're gonna have to start doing. Is it a buy or a rent? It's definitely a rent. It's definitely a rent. Get your friends, sit down, watch this, and have some fun with it. It underrated. I didn't even know it existed until Maury said it to me, and I Googled it, and I'm like, oh, okay. So that's what I did.
I just accidentally caught it on. It was one of those that played on the movie channel one time, and
I didn't know about it until Eddie's the one that told me about it. I'm like, what?
Must have just slipped through the radar, So yes. Hello, Jacob. Thank you for being here. Yeah, we're about ready to finish up. The 3 movies we reviewed were Terminator 2, Eraser, and The Last Stand. We give spoiler reviews here, but if you haven't seen any, I'm sure you've seen Terminator 2, but if you haven't seen the others, definitely worth the watch. I'd like to bring these out and highlight good movies, because we all know there's enough crap out there.
Yes.
So, yeah. this one got under the radar, I think, before the wokeism hit. It was a lot of fun and good stuff.
Yeah.
So that is it for the triple review. I want to once again thank my guests. Thank you, Maury and Eddie, for being here. It's always a good time. Thank you for everyone watching on the replay. And of course, thank you for everyone who popped in. Biggles, thank you, JT Gunn, Keck44, thank you, my mod here. Thank you for modding. We also, Booch McFadden, thank you for all those good comments on the Terminator 2, LDG, Captain America himself, or, Late Night with Cap JT Gunn. I already said Boosh. If I missed anyone, I sincerely. Oh, Lady Toriel was here. And Jacob Ironside said there were a lot of policemen that needed knee replacement.
Yep.
Good one. So have a great day, everyone. Have a great day. And be certain if you've got someone from the drug cartel in your custody, don't try to move them. Just leave them there and kill them, I guess.
Yeah.
And for any drug cartel that may be listening in, I was joking. Please don't hurt me.